Welcome to Stoic Soul Legacy. If you're ready to upgrade your mindset and unlock your best version, you're in the right place. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and share this channel with someone who needs a little push today. Let's grow, let's rise, and let's stay motivated. Together.
You don't control events, you control your judgment, the single most important rule in Stoicism. The rule that frees you from anger, frustration, and emotional chaos is this: events themselves do not disturb you, your judgment about those events does. This idea comes directly from Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, who said, "It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them." Most people live their entire lives believing the opposite. They believe people make them angry, situations cause stress, words hurt them, but the Stoics saw through this illusion. They understood something most people never realize. An external event is neutral until the mind gives it meaning. Imagine someone insults you. The insult is simply sound waves in the air, nothing more. It becomes painful only when your mind translates it into a story. I was disrespected. I was attacked. I was treated unfairly. The moment that story appears, anger is born. Not because of what happened, but because of how you judged what happened. This is why two people can experience the exact same event and react completely differently. One becomes furious, the other remains calm. The difference is not the event. The difference is the interpretation. Stoicism teaches you to reclaim this power. The moment you understand that your judgment stands between the event and your emotion, everything changes. Anger stops feeling automatic. You realize it requires your participation. You must agree with the thought that says, "This should not have happened." And the moment you stop agreeing with that thought, anger has nowhere to live. This does not mean you become passive or weak. Stoicism is not about pretending nothing matters. It is about refusing to let your inner peace be hijacked by things outside your control. You still take action when necessary, but from a calm, rational mind rather than an emotional one. The Stoics divided life into two categories: what is within your control and what is not. Other people's behavior is not within your control. Traffic, delays, mistakes, insults, and bad luck are not within your control. But your judgments, your thoughts, interpretations, and responses always are. When you get angry at reality for not matching your expectations, you suffer twice. First from the event itself, then from your resistance to it. Stoicism removes that second layer of suffering. It teaches acceptance without weakness and strength without aggression. The moment something triggers you, ask yourself a Stoic question: what judgment am I making right now? You'll often discover it's something like, "This shouldn't be happening. They shouldn't treat me this way. I don't deserve this." Now replace that judgment with a Stoic one. "This is outside my control. This is simply how people behave. I will respond with reason, not emotion." The emotional charge immediately weakens. Mastering this rule takes practice, not perfection. You will still feel the initial surge of emotion, but over time, it loses its grip. You stop being a slave to every comment, delay, or inconvenience. You become internally free, and that is the true promise of Stoicism. Not a life without problems, but a life where problems no longer control you. Once you master your judgment, the world loses its power to disturb your peace. Other people's behavior is not your responsibility. One of the greatest sources of anger in human life is the silent expectation that other people should behave the way we want them to. We expect respect, we expect fairness, we expect understanding, and when those expectations are not met, anger rushes in. Stoicism dismantles this illusion completely. The Stoics teach that other people's behavior belongs to them, not to you. Their words, actions, attitudes, and mistakes are shaped by their upbringing, their experiences, their fears, and their level of awareness. You did not create their character, and you cannot control it. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself of this truth daily. He wrote that each morning he should expect to meet people who are selfish, rude, ungrateful, dishonest, and arrogant, not because people are evil, but because many are ignorant of what is good. This expectation was not pessimism, it was preparation. When you expect perfection from imperfect beings, you guarantee your own suffering. Most anger is not caused by what someone did. It is caused by the thought, they shouldn't be like this. But who decided that? Nature did not promise you polite people. Life did not sign a contract guaranteeing fairness. The moment you release that false demand, your anger loses its foundation. Stoicism teaches emotional independence. It means you no longer hand over control of your inner state to strangers, co-workers, family members, or random people on the internet. When you allow someone's behavior to dictate your emotions, you place your peace in their hands. That is not strength. That is surrender. A Stoic refuses to do this. This does not mean you tolerate abuse or injustice. It means you respond with clarity instead of chaos. You can set boundaries without rage. You can walk away without hatred. You can correct someone without losing your composure. Ask yourself this powerful Stoic question: why am I surprised that humans behave like humans? People speak thoughtlessly. People project their pain. People act from ego, fear, and insecurity. When you understand this, their behavior stops feeling personal. You realize that most of what people do is a reflection of them, not a verdict on you. Imagine a dog barking. You don't get offended. You understand it is acting according to its nature. Stoicism asks you to apply that same wisdom to people, not to excuse bad behavior, but to stop internalizing it. Epictetus taught that when someone insults you, you have two choices. You can believe them and suffer, or you can recognize that their words are simply opinions and remain calm. The insult has no power unless you give it authority. The moment you stop expecting people to be different, you gain something priceless: peace. You stop wasting energy wishing reality were other than what it is. Instead, you adapt intelligently. This is why Stoics are difficult to provoke, not because they lack emotion, but because they understand the source of emotion. They don't demand the world meet their standards. They meet the world with understanding and discipline. Remember this rule: you are responsible for your character. Others are responsible for theirs. When you fully accept this, anger fades. Resentment weakens. You stop fighting battles that were never yours to begin with. And in that moment, you become truly unbothered. Pause before you react. Delay is power. Anger is fast. Wisdom is slow. This single truth explains why most people regret their words, their reactions, and their decisions. They react first and think later. Stoicism teaches the opposite. Create space between what happens and how you respond. In that space lies power, freedom, and self-mastery. The Stoics understood that emotions arrive automatically, but actions do not. You may feel the surge of anger, irritation, or offense, but you are not required to act on it. Marcus Aurelius warned that once anger takes control of your response, reason leaves the room. And without reason, every reaction becomes a mistake. Most damage in life is not caused by events themselves, but by impulsive reactions to those events. A harsh word spoken in anger can destroy a relationship. A quick reaction can cost you respect, opportunity, or peace. A moment of unchecked emotion can create consequences that last for years. This is why Stoicism treats delay as a form of strength. When something triggers you, your nervous system enters a primitive state. The body prepares for fight or defense. In that moment, the mind is not designed for wisdom. It is designed for survival. Acting during this state is like steering a ship in a storm with your eyes closed. The Stoic solution is simple but powerful. Pause, not forever, just long enough for reason to return. Even a few seconds of silence can completely change the outcome. Silence prevents regret. Silence protects dignity. Silence allows the mind to regain control over the body. Epictetus taught that when provoked, you should say to yourself, "You are only an appearance, not the thing you appear to be." This reminder breaks the emotional spell. It reminds you that what you are experiencing is not an emergency, it is an interpretation. Delay does not mean suppression. Stoicism does not ask you to bottle emotions. It asks you to observe them without obeying them. You acknowledge the feeling, but you do not surrender your behavior to it. There is immense strength in restraint. The loudest person in the room often feels powerful, but the calmest person controls the outcome. When you pause, you shift the balance of power. You stop being reactive and become deliberate, and deliberation is the mark of a disciplined mind. Think of delay as sharpening a blade. The longer you pause, the cleaner the response becomes. What you say, or choose not to say, comes from clarity instead of chaos. The Stoics believed that self-control is the highest form of control. Anyone can react. Very few can restrain themselves. And those who can are nearly impossible to manipulate. When you pause, you also gain perspective. You begin to see that most things are not worth your emotional energy. Many insults are insignificant. Many conflicts are temporary. Many provocations are designed to pull you down to someone else's level. By delaying, you refuse the invitation. Ask yourself in moments of tension, will this matter tomorrow? Is this worth my peace? What would a calm, disciplined version of me do right now? These questions slow the mind and weaken emotional urgency. With practice, pausing becomes instinctive. You no longer explode. You observe. You no longer chase the need to respond. You choose if a response is necessary at all. And often, the most powerful response is none. This is why Stoics appear unshakable, not because nothing affects them, but because nothing controls them. Master the pause, and you master yourself. And once you master yourself, the world loses its ability to provoke you. Focus only on what makes you better. Not bitter life will test you. People will disappoint you. Obstacles will appear without warning. Stoicism does not promise a smooth path. It promises strength on a rough one. The final rule that frees you from anger is learning to see every difficulty not as an attack, but as training. The Stoics believed that events are neither good nor bad by nature. They become good or bad only through the use we make of them. What weakens one person refines another. The difference is not circumstance, it is attitude. Most people ask, why is this happening to me? The Stoic asks, how is this happening for me? This single shift transforms bitterness into growth. Every insult becomes a lesson in patience. Every setback becomes practice in resilience. Every delay becomes an opportunity to master yourself. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the mind has the power to turn obstacles into fuel. What stands in the way becomes the way. This is not motivational fantasy. It is mental discipline. When you view hardship as training, anger loses its grip because anger depends on resistance. Growth depends on acceptance. Bitterness is the refusal to learn. Strength is the willingness to adapt. When you become bitter, You give the past control over the present. You replay offenses, relive disappointments, and reopen wounds. Stoicism teaches you to break this cycle by asking a higher question. What virtue is this situation demanding from me? Is it patience? Is it courage? Is it humility? Is it self-control? Life is constantly shaping your character. The only choice you have is whether it sharpens you or hardens you. The Stoic chooses sharpening. This mindset removes the victim narrative. You stop seeing yourself as someone things happen to, and start seeing yourself as someone being trained by life. The world becomes a gym, not a battlefield. Resistance builds strength only when you push against it with purpose. Even failure becomes useful. Failure exposes ego. Failure reveals weakness. Failure teaches clarity. A Stoic does not collapse under failure. He studies it. Ask yourself after every challenge, did this make me wiser or more resentful? If it made you resentful, the lesson was missed. If it made you wiser, the challenge served its purpose. This is how Stoics remain calm in chaos. They are not unaffected. They are unbroken. They understand that pain is temporary, but character is permanent. They invest in what cannot be taken from them: discipline, judgment, integrity. Focusing on improvement also restores control. You cannot control outcomes, but you can control effort. You cannot control how others treat you, but you can control who you become because of it. And that is true power. The moment you ask, "How can this make me better?" you reclaim ownership of your life. You stop waiting for fairness. You stop demanding comfort. You stop feeding anger. You begin building resilience. Over time, this practice changes your identity. You no longer react with bitterness because bitterness has no purpose. Growth does, calm does, strength does. This is why Stoics are unbothered, not because life is easy, but because nothing is wasted. Every challenge becomes material for mastery. Choose growth over grievance. Choose discipline over drama. Choose to become better, not bitter. And when you do, anger fades not because you fought it, but because you outgrew it.
Mental toughness through adversity in 2026. Adversity is no longer the exception. It is the norm. Uncertainty in careers, rapid technological change, economic pressure, personal loss, criticism, and constant comparison have become part of everyday life. Many people see these challenges as signs that life is unfair or that they are failing. Stoicism teaches a different perspective. Adversity is not an enemy, it is training. The Stoics believed that hardship is essential for growth. Just as muscles grow stronger through resistance, the mind becomes stronger through difficulty. Without challenges, character remains untested. With them, character is revealed and refined. This is where Stoicism separates strength from fragility. Most people ask, why is this happening to me? The Stoic asks, what is this teaching me? This single shift in perspective transforms suffering into purpose. Instead of collapsing under pressure, you rise through it. One of the most powerful Stoic principles is the idea that the obstacle is the way. What blocks your path is often the path itself. Failure teaches discipline. Rejection builds resilience. Criticism sharpens self-awareness. Loss deepens gratitude. Nothing is wasted unless you refuse to learn. In 2026, mental toughness is not about pretending everything is fine. It is about facing reality without panic, denial, or self-pity. Stoics practice acceptance without resignation. They accept what happens, but they never stop improving how they respond.
Adversity strips away illusions. When comfort disappears, excuses lose power. You are forced to confront who you really are. Stoicism prepares you for these moments by training you to rely on inner strength rather than external stability. This mindset creates emotional endurance. When plans fail, you adapt. When life hits hard, you recover faster. When others break, you rebuild. You stop asking life to be easy and start asking yourself to be stronger. Stoics also practiced voluntary hardship, choosing discomfort to prepare for unavoidable pain. Simple living, physical discipline, and mental challenges were used to reduce fear of loss and hardship. In modern terms, this means stepping outside comfort zones, embracing discipline, and building resilience before crisis arrives. When adversity strikes, the Stoic does not say, "This shouldn't be happening." They say, "This is happening now. How do I respond with strength and wisdom?" This mindset removes unnecessary suffering and replaces it with focused action. Mental toughness also means controlling interpretation. Two people can face the same event. One collapses, the other grows stronger. The difference is not the event, but the meaning they attach to it. Stoicism trains you to choose empowering meanings over destructive ones. In 2026, criticism is constant. Opinions are loud. Failure is public. Stoicism teaches you to extract what is useful and ignore what is harmful. You do not take everything personally. You learn, you adjust, you move forward. Marcus Aurelius wrote that a blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything thrown into it. This is Stoic toughness, the ability to turn pain into progress. When you embrace adversity as a teacher, fear loses its grip. You stop avoiding challenges and start facing them deliberately. Life becomes less threatening and more meaningful. Mental toughness is not about being emotionless. It is about being unbreakable. And in a world that will continue to test you, Stoicism gives you the strength not just to survive, but to rise. Living with purpose in the age of distraction in 2026. Distraction is everywhere. Notifications, endless scrolling, breaking news, short-form content, and constant entertainment compete for your attention every second of the day. Most people are not lacking time or potential, they are lacking direction. Stoicism offers a powerful antidote to this modern problem: purposeful living. The Stoics believed that life is not meant to be spent chasing pleasure or avoiding discomfort. Life is meant to be lived with intention, guided by reason, and aligned with values. In a world that profits from keeping you distracted, choosing purpose becomes an act of strength. Distraction weakens the mind. It fragments focus, drains energy, and creates the illusion of productivity without real progress. Stoicism teaches you to guard your attention because attention shapes your character. What you repeatedly focus on becomes who you are. In 2026, many people feel busy but unfulfilled. They consume content all day, yet feel empty at night. Stoicism asks a deeper question: what are you living for? Without a clear purpose, distractions easily take over. With purpose, distractions lose their power. Living with purpose does not mean having all the answers. It means committing to principles that guide your decisions: integrity, discipline, service, growth, and responsibility. Stoics believed that every person has a role to play in the larger whole. Your purpose is not just personal success, but meaningful contribution. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that he was born to work with others, to act justly, and to serve the common good. In 2026, this idea challenges extreme individualism and self-absorption. Purpose pulls you out of endless self-focus and gives your life direction beyond momentary pleasure. Stoicism teaches intentional living. This means choosing how you spend your time, energy, and attention. You stop saying yes to everything and start saying yes to what matters. You design your days around priorities, not impulses. In an age of distraction, this discipline is rare and powerful. Purpose also brings clarity during difficulty. When life becomes hard, people without purpose feel lost. Stoics endure because they know why they are doing what they do. Purpose turns suffering into sacrifice and struggle into meaning. Another Stoic practice is memento mori, remembering that life is temporary. In 2026, people live as if time is endless, wasting years on distractions that add no value. Stoicism gently reminds you that every day is a gift and every moment matters. This awareness sharpens focus and deepens appreciation. Living with purpose does not mean withdrawing from the world. It means engaging with it wisely. You still enjoy life, but you are not consumed by it. Pleasure becomes something you appreciate, not something you depend on. When purpose guides you, comparison fades. You stop measuring your life against others and start measuring it against your values. You become less reactive, less anxious, and more fulfilled. You wake up knowing what deserves your effort. In 2026, attention is currency and purpose is protection. Stoicism gives you both. It helps you cut through noise, resist distraction, and live deliberately. A purposeful life is not louder, it is deeper, and depth is where meaning is found. When you live with purpose, every action counts, and every day becomes a step toward a life well lived.